There is a specific date on your calendar that haunts you. As the day approaches, your body remembers before your mind does. The chest tightens. The memories flood back. It's the anniversary of a death. For us, the living, this day is a memorial of loss, a marker of time passed without them. But have you ever stopped to ask what that day means for them? Do they know what day it is? Does a soul, stripped of a physical body and existing outside of our concept of time, actually care that the earth has made another lap around the sun? One of the most terrifyingly mystical figures of the 20th century says the answer is yes. Padre Pio, the man who arguably spent more time interacting with the invisible world than the visible one, offers us a radical, almost shocking insight. He suggests that on the anniversary of a death, the dead are not just waiting, they are expecting something specific from you. And if you understand what this day actually is for them, it changes everything about how you grieve. To understand this mystery, we have to step inside the mind of a man who lived with one foot in a dusty Italian town and the other in the terrifying reality of the afterlife. Padre Pio wasn't just a priest. He was a walking paradox. Born Francesco Forgione in 1887 in the tiny village of Pietrelcina, he seemed destined for the supernatural from the moment he could speak. By 15, he had vanished into the Capuchin order, trading his name for Pio. But his life wasn't a peaceful retreat. It was a war zone. For 50 years, starting in 1918 inside the friary of San Giovanni Rotondo, he bore the stigmata. These weren't symbolic marks. They were open bleeding wounds through his hands, his feet, and his side. A biological impossibility that baffled doctors for half a century. They never infected. They never healed. And they smelled, not of rotting flesh, but of roses and tobacco. This physical suffering was just the surface. His real work happened in a small wooden box, the confessional. He would sit there for 15 hours a day, staring into the souls of strangers, often knowing their sins before they even opened their mouths. He was a man who saw the invisible world as clearly as we see traffic lights. And because he lived on this razor's edge between worlds, the souls of the dead didn't just visit him, they hunted him down. There is a famous tradition surrounding Padre Pio, a quote that chills the blood of anyone who reads it. He said, "More souls of the dead than of the living climb this mountain to attend my masses and seek my prayers." Think about that. He is claiming that the pews of his church were more crowded with ghosts than with people. To grasp what happens on an anniversary, we first have to look at the stories that built this reputation. These aren't just polite anecdotes. They are ghost stories with a theological purpose. Take the winter night in the early 1900s. Padre Pio is sitting alone by the fireplace, praying. Suddenly, the silence is broken. An old man is sitting next to him. Now the doors are locked. The friary is secured. This is impossible. Padre Pio, startled, asks the man who he is. The figure replies, "I am Pietro di Mauro. I died in a fire in this very friary back in 1908. The man continues, "I am still in purgatory. I need a holy mass to be freed." He wasn't there to haunt the friar. He was there to beg. Padre Pio, trembling, promised to offer mass the next morning. The figure vanished. Later, when the town records were checked, they found it. A man named Pietro di Mauro really had died in a fire at that location in 1908. This wasn't a hallucination. It was a transaction between the living and the suffering church. But there is a darker story, one that reveals the stakes of this connection. It involves a young friar who had been negligent, treating the Eucharist with disrespect. After he died, God sent him to Padre Pio. The soul stood before the saint, burning with the purifying fire of purgatory, and said, "For my negligence, I am here. You, Padre Pio, you must decide how much longer I have to suffer." Imagine the weight of that choice. Padre Pio, in a moment of strict justice, said, "You must remain until the morning mass." The soul let out a cry that echoed with despair. Cruel. And then he vanished. Padre Pio later confessed that this moment haunted him for the rest of his life. He said, "I still have a wound in my heart. I could have sent him immediately to paradise, but I condemned him to wait one more night." To us, one night is nothing. To a soul in the fire of purification, one night is an eternity of longing. This brings us to the core revelation. If the dead are this desperate for our help, what happens when the calendar hits that specific date, the anniversary of their death? While not an official dogma written in the Catechism, a profound spiritual meditation has emerged from Padre Pio's legacy that answers this. It suggests that the anniversary of death isn't just a date, it is a spiritual mirror. Here is the theory. On this day, the veil between our world and theirs thins. The soul is granted a heightened, supernatural awareness of the exact moment it left the body and entered eternity. It is a recurring grace. God allows the soul to relive that transition, not with fear, but with a surge of clarity. For a soul that is still in purgatory, still scrubbing away the stains of selfishness and sin, this day is a lifeline. The meditation suggests they feel a specific, intense hunger for the prayers of the people they left behind. It's as if, on this one day, the channels of communication are thrown wide open. If the soul lived a quiet, faithful life, the anniversary might be a day of immense peace, a warm current of love flowing from earth to heaven, easing their burden. But if they are close to the end of their purification, the anniversary could be the day of their release, a flash of the beatific vision that pulls them finally into the arms of God. But here is the critical part. This only works if we do our job. This changes the anniversary from a day of passive crying to a day of active warfare. You are not just remembering a memory, you are sending supplies to the front lines. Padre Pio teaches us that our grief, when it remains just grief, is useless to the dead. But grief transformed into prayer is nuclear energy. So what are they waiting for on this day? They are waiting for the nuclear option, the Holy Mass. Notice in the stories, Pietro di Mauro didn't ask for a thought. The young friar didn't ask for a flower on his grave. They asked for the Mass. Why? Because the Mass is the representation of the sacrifice of Christ. It is infinite merit applied to a finite debt. Padre Pio knew that celebrating the Eucharist was the single most effective way to empty purgatory. There is also the difficult work of forgiveness. Some spiritual masters, inspired by this tradition, suggest that if you are holding a grudge against the deceased, resentment for a wound they caused you years ago, you are essentially tying a weight to their soul. On their anniversary, the most powerful gift you can give them is to let it go. To say, I forgive you. That act of charity might be the final key that unlocks their chains. So the next time that date circles around on your calendar, don't just dread the pain. Realize what is happening. The veil is thinning. They are close. They are listening. Instead of just feeling the loss, use the day. Offer a Mass. Whisper a prayer. Forgive an old debt. You have the power right now to reach across the void of death and help them home. The connection doesn't end at the grave. In the eyes of God and in the vision of Padre Pio, love is the one force that can breach the walls of eternity. If you want to understand more about the hidden mechanics of the spiritual life and how to help those who have passed on, make sure you are subscribed. We are building a community here that takes the mysteries of faith seriously. And share this. Someone you know is dreading an upcoming anniversary right now. They need to know that their grief has a purpose. May the souls of the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace.